Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as Known Classics. This is episode number 1661 and Doubleshot number 1555. Now, this particular review, I'm basically discussing a trade from IDW and Archie Comics. Yes, Archie. You'll find out what it is soon. First up from IDW, a book that picked up at Comic-Con, Star Trek Year 4. Yeah, this one particularly, apparently it's probably like a series of one of these collections for Star Trek that these were like a series of stories that took place. Well, it's called Year 4 for a reason, because it takes place during the fourth year of the Star Trek original series. Now, on the cover, you can see it takes inspiration from the live-action series. But according to one of the artists of this book, Steve Carney, you can see how to pronounce his name. His stories take Steve Conley. His stories take inspiration from the art style coming from the Star Trek the animated series of 1970s. He did explain to me that he had to get permission for the likenesses for William Shatner and the late Leonard Nimoy. He had to seek the permissions first because they did own no likenesses. Yep. Now, mostly put for Year 4. You're probably thinking, like, a lot of Star Trek where they reference stuff from the actual series. Like, you might be asking, okay, is there any Klingons in here? Nope. Romulans? Nope. Andorians? No. Surprisingly, no Andorians. It's a bunch of new alien species. Now, all these stories, they also have some stuff from Gold Key in here. Simply put, this book has the Year 4 stuff, plus it has the Year 4 miniseries, issues 1 through 6, and Star Trek from Gold Key, issue 43. That was done by the late Arnold Drake, as the guy who created the Doom Patrol. The other artists of this book, aside from Steve Conley, are Joe Sharp, Rob Sharp, Gordon Pacheco, and Leonardo Grady. I had mentioned in my haul video that he was selling this book for $50, but he was selling it for $30 if I knew who DC Fontana is. Yeah, and I know exactly who DC Fontana is. She's one of the writers of Star Trek in the original series. And when I hear it episodes, even he agrees, one of her best episodes is During the Fable. That was the only reason why that he charged me $30 instead of $50 for this damn thing. I was worried I paid $50 for this thing when I got this at Comic-Con, but $30. Yep, all because I knew who DC Fontana is. Now, the artwork in here, the way the stories are kind of weird. Like the first story, it's like it picks up like not long after the events of Turnaround Intruder because, well, we have this that came from Turnaround Intruder, where it was Janet Lester, the guy who swapped bodies with Kirk. But I find one of the most weirdest ones. The first story is called Captain's Personal Log. Yeah, just a quick short story. Just deals with some stuff, and that's it. And then we got a different story where apparently we have this gorgeous artwork. One thing I like about this book, they don't really credit exactly who some of the artists are. They go to this world, and apparently, like, they investigate stuff, and they apparently investigate this Logan's disease, and they try to develop a cure. And there's even a mention here of Bajor. Yes, a reference to Bajor, as in the planet that was heavily featured in the series Star Trek Deep Space Nine, that was first mentioned on air in an episode of Star Trek Next Generation. Interesting, though, we have several panels that look exactly the same on, like, 2 pages. And, of course, found their secret. And then eventually, like, as they try to stop and try to find a cure for Logan's disease, everybody ends up killing each other. Next story is basically about this planet called Arc 3. where there are people who basically are very rich, and of course some traditions don't like them. It's a bit of an interesting story to say the least. The story itself has similarities with Friday's Child, except no Klingons. With overthrowing people, and the original series, and the crew being involved in it. Yeah, it's a very interesting story. Then we have this really weird story of looks like Christine Chapel, where she just wondering, like, she's afraid of someone, and it's Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy. It's a weird story. Well, they walk off, and then we hear, like something weird happened. The artwork is okay. I don't know if it's Steve Conley this one. And then we have Christine Chapel talking to Medris. She's the cat lady who occasionally took the place of Uhura when you watch the Star Trek animated series. She took Uhura's spot, and like Christine Chapel just tried to talk to them, and they just walk off. It's a bit of an odd story involving possession. Kirk basically freed everybody, and Christine Chapel was unaffected by this. And it turns out it was just people just screeching. Then they just go home. It's just a very weird story. Next one, oh boy. It involves the Enterprise getting involved with a network. Yes, seriously. On a planet that looks very much like Earth. Like, it's like an alternate version of the Earth from the early 21st century a bit. Where they want to videotape, and of course they got you have security guards that have revolvers. It's just their planet. It's particularly quite weird. Then we have these people wearing these very, very much Earth-style clothing. Putting cameras on the ship. It's an interesting story to say the least. And then apparently we have thing ends with Starfleet Academy pilot Scott Tipton. It's kind of weird the fact that he gets a reference in here. I don't know if this is a reference to IDW and Scott Tipton. This guy apparently is a stand-in for Scott Tipton. Scott Tipton, in case you know who this guy is, he's the guy who wrote stuff like Star Trek, Doctor Who, Assimilation Squared, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, the Mirror Universe trilogy. The one that features the Mirror Universe Next Generation Crew, which is awesome, by the way. And I believe they also wrote a Deep Space Nine miniseries. It's an excellent one. Next story involves Spock being trapped on a space station with all appearance by a three-armed man. And you're thinking, who the heck is this guy and why is he here with Chekhov? Well, there's an explanation for this guy. Now, believe it or not, he actually made an appearance in one of the novels. This guy. I don't remember this guy's name. But, yeah, his thing is that his species has got three arms and his head looks like this. You see, on the series, he was meant to replace Chekhov. Because Chekhov was supposed to be on the animated series, because they were bringing back the entire original crew. But they couldn't bring back Chekhov. It was for budget reasons, the reason why, that I've heard the reason why he wasn't on there. But he did write one episode for the series. Which, according to one person, I've seen, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's considered to be the worst episode of the whole series. I think it was the Infinite Vulcan. It was really bad. And in the book, basically, Chekhov was going off to security school, and this guy was coming in. And he appeared in one or two books, and that's it. And that's kind of weird about this guy. He appears in like 2 of the novels that came out in the last several years. And comics-wise, aside from reading this book, the only time I've seen this guy pop up was actually in, I think it was New Voyages by John Byrne, that photo comic. That was the only other comic I've seen this guy in. Aside from this. As for the cat lady, well, this is the only comic. I don't think she popped up in the New Voyages. I don't remember. Mostly about, like, it's basically this story here with the Gemini space station. It has sort of similarities with Doomsday Machine, where they try to rescue Spock. Though the way whoever did this Bubbles basically did it kind of wrong, where they had this clearly from Spock, and the bubble is above the head. I think this is supposed to be Sulu. Oh, his name is Erex. That's his name. Surprisingly, this character does not speak the entire time. And I think this is supposed to be Sulu. Over here. Yeah, I think that putting that word bubble where it's connected from, it's kind of weird. Like, they could have put it someplace else, but nope, they put it on top of Sulu's head for some reason. I have no idea why. So they end up rescuing Spock, and Sigler is destroyed, and that story ends there. And then the next story, basically looking for USS Penzar, and it turns out this one woman who basically wants to accompany Kirk on the mission, but the archaeologist says. Then she mentions basically that she has to go because the captain of the Pester was her brother. And then Kirk is like, okay, come on board. Nothing really wrong with having a helping hand. And of course, the potential red shirt here. Of course. And you might be thinking, like, does the red shirt die in the story? Yes, he does. And this one apparently involves, like, merchandise, which apparently are babies. Oh, I should also point out, Kirk is wearing sorry about that. He's wearing his green shirt, which I did hear a story about this shirt, of the reason why he was told to wear this thing on the show. From what I read in the article, Shatner hated wearing this damn thing. And the reason why that he was told to wear this, because he was putting on weight. Yes, seriously. That was the reason why he put on this shirt. Was because he was putting on weight, and Shatner hated wearing this damn thing. They wanted to wear it to hide his weight, and it was sort of a punishment for him. I think it was a punishment or insult to him that he was putting on weight. Yeah, and the merchandise the thing was carrying are babies. Yes, babies. And presumably, these babies are from the crew, the Penzar. And of course, like, they try to stop him. Of course, then apparently, then the archaeologist, the lieutenant, sees a baby that looks exactly like her brother. Possibly her brother's kid. Possibly, I'm not really sure. Then the robot is, well, damaged. And she says take Aiden with her. Yep, and Bob, Kirk and McCoy basically tell her hostage, and of course, they all just leave. This woman's got pointy ears, and she's not a Vulcan. Nope. What space she is, don't know. Then, of course, the baby is told, like I mentioned, I hear Pacifica is one place when it's a child. That's never actually on sea. And the ruins are in the archaeology stream. Good luck, Lieutenant. Thank you, sir. Mother agrees with her. Big Legend, how did you know you recalibrated shields? Yep. Now, Pacifica, in case you don't know, this planet, As far as I remember, it never appeared in any episode of Star Trek that I could think of. Pacifica is a water planet, where the whole planet is covered with water. And there's actually a character from the Star Trek Titan series that actually is from that planet. She did appear in one of the covers. The best way to describe their people is that they're kind of like the Gill Man. It's like their appearance is based on the Gill Man from the Universal Monster movies. It's a very similar appearance per se, and they're apparently they only can breathe on the water. They can have a limited amount of time for air, and it's mentioned in the book that she left before she matured. So she's basically image. Despite the fact she's basically appearance-wise an adult, she basically didn't mature. She basically was getting impatient. That's the reason why she left. Yeah. And the story ends with that. And then we have a Goki story. Yes, a Goki story. Which, if you want to know what the heck this one looks like, there you go. I believe this is supposed to be Pacifica. I'm not really sure. They don't say what it is, but it's a very interesting story. The story behind Goki, I should point out, though, something that Linkar brought up in his video, that Goki had this thing where the writers of the Goki comic apparently did receive images exactly what the characters look like, but they apparently never watched the show because they have characters saying stuff they never would say in the show. It's not the case in this book per se because it's Arnold Drake writing it. This book, actually pretty good. I'm going to give the book a 9.5 out of 10. It's a damn good book. Love the artwork though. Alright, next up it is The Black Hood. Excuse me, Volume 1, The Bullet's Kiss. Yes, this is the one from Archie Comics. Now, I have never read anything from Archie Comics. This is from one of their imprints called I think it's called Dark Circle Press, I believe it is. Oh, it's Dark Circle Comics. There's the image right there. Now, Dark Circle Comics is an imprint of Archie, but technically this is an Archie comic book. As you can cover, it's written by Dwayne Swarzinski, great writer. Love this guy's work. The artwork is done by Michael Gatos, and one issue. Now this guy does the first 5 of 6 issues a year. The last issue was done by Howard Chaykin. Yes, Howard Chaykin does the artwork for that one. The cover art is done by Francisco Fracovila. Yeah, he does pretty much all. I think he does pretty much like all the cover art here. Michael Gatos does the main cover art here, but the rest of the covers are done by Francis Fracovila. Simply put, the Black Hood is pretty much basically a vigilante. It's a very similar it's a very similar story to what I saw for Kill a Be Killed, except it's not basically someone suffering from hallucinations to kill criminals. But mostly put, Black Hood it's just a vigilante. That's simply what he is. He battles like various criminals, and that's simply it. It's still pretty good. And the books are read by Dwayne Swarzinski. None of them been terrible. I'm going to give this book a 9 out of 10. Just a damn good book. Okay, so that's the particular review. Next one's going to be Marvel stuff. And they're both feature Iron Man. Yep. Next video. Bye.